I'm Christy Olson. I'm a full-time working mom. I've recently gotten into dabbling a little bit into watercolor. I've always done paint by numbers and stuff like that. It's kind of fun.
My name is Lene Reed, and I am a single mother, a poet, and an activist, and a mystic.
My name is Aisha, and I'm a sculptor and a mom.
I'm Lucia Harrison. I'm a visual artist.
She's my mom.
Aisha's my daughter.
Aisha was always very artistic. When she was 8 years old, her parents got divorced, so we split up. So every summer and every vacation, we went to some kind of art camp. And she would make money, because for every blue ribbon, you got $5. She would come home from the fair with $50, $75.
My kid's name is Io. We try to make learning really fun and positive at home. For example, when he was young, we would make books about experiences. So one time I got him this little ceramic bowl, but of course he wants to see what happens when he throws it. So he threw the kiddie bowl and it broke on the floor. And then we started talking about it breaking, and then we wrote a book about it, and he illustrated the book and I wrote the words, and then we wrote a song and I would sing the song to him.
Or you can maybe put tape on this, it might hold.
Okay,
So,
probably more tape, more glue. We'll be back in action. This is my son, Mason Olson. We only remember so much from our childhood, so I like to document as he grows. They just grow so fast. When he turned 5, he was really into his airplanes, so we made an airplane picture on the concrete, and he was so into it.
My grandmother was the choir director of the Baptist church. I grew up sleeping in the pews and her writing songs. After that, I would just do karaoke contests and things. It was really singing, not poetry. And it was through all of my studies in meditation and spirituality that poetry became coming out. It just all was kind of a process of growth and finding myself that way.
So this piece I made in 2011 at the Baltimore Clayworks. This posture in some communities is very, this person is like your cousin, This is my guy. And for other people, this person's very, menacing.
The theme that I use is a spiritual item that has a dull edge for cutting spiritual cords. Let's say someone has gone through some kind of abuse on a part of their body. And so you say, okay, I cut all of the former ties to this part of my body and I release this pain from my body.
You asked me why I would want my son to know about this piece, and that's something I want him to understand is just because you have an idea about someone doesn't mean you know what that posture or that feeling is about. I like the idea of being in someone else's shoes or taking their posture and feeling it, feeling what it's like.
This poem is for Pops, who tells me stories, tales from the deep south, about how a raccoon can whip a dog in the water, and learn how to fell a tree so it lands just right. He leads me through a field of memories, plowing behind a mule at 8 years old. We go to cane mills, remove the slag off the top as millstone rolls with the clop of a workhorse, juice and sweetness. I hear how to keep my fingers. I listen to the weight of a 65-pound basket of cotton on the back of a child. I hear the clank of pennies counted for shot, to hunt rabbit for supper. Not a deer. He never could bring himself to kill one. I hear the sound of sitting on the porch. With a rifle, I hear his heartbeat and a drop of sweat trickle off his brow. I hear a murder of Jim Crow's pass over the family home. Sister safe in the house. If this is why he got good as head of security at a factory with his strong, black, 6 foot, who knows what body. He was too young for that draft, but fought many battles of his own. I have heard where his boys were raised, outside of Mount Bayou, Mississippi. See, for a few, a little slice of that tale can be true. Walnut and peach trees, cornbread and collard greens, barbecues and fish fries, ham hocks and poke salad run through their veins just like dominoes and spades. He is the great migration from southern farm to northern factory. I have heard a person passes out when their arm is mangled in a meat grinder up to here. I have heard the pain of living a long life filled to the brim with loved ones. He knows more hurt in dead people than I can name. He speaks to me of them. His cousin at 80 stabbed 13 times by her grandson and how she is still living. Brother-in-law drowned in the Mississippi. Cousins killed in wars. Nephews in and out of prison for no good reason. People who died on his watch at work. Died in his care, in his home. 2 of his older brothers now. He says,
I worked every day. Before work, there was work. And after work, there was work.
So, his poem is for Pops, who tells me stories, smoking weed on the porch of the house, with scenes of raccoons whipping dogs in the water, and trees felled just right.
We usually don't make things together, but I rely on Aisha's advice when I run into trouble on things that I'm making.
Me too. She always gives me ideas, and I'm always like, no, that's not what I want. And then I think about it, and of course it is what I want. So that happens.
Stitching the forest together. We wandered along the soggy forest path. Mother warned, don't touch the mushrooms. Even so, we searched for magic.
So my daughter, Olivia, she is wonderful. She is smart and beautiful. I've always tried to involve her in ways that are positive and safe for her and give her options if she doesn't want to participate.
I would like to think that Mason is benefiting from my art. I really don't have anything particular that I want him to do. Whatever makes him happy. Right now, he's super into airplanes and would love to be an airplane pilot, but he's only 5.5, so things could change.
Both of us have done a lot of teaching so that we can pass along what we've learned and keep that craft alive in future generations.
Being in a relationship with you, watching you go from teaching in the MPA program, directing that program, to moving into art in this pretty profound way that gave me permission to do the same for myself.
That's what I like about universal practices, is that you can pray to Jesus, David Bowie, God, Tesla, Adams. You can meditate and have power and have a focus and buy a rock for courage and sit it on your shelf. And so when you look at it, you think about courage. It's not complicated.
There was a thing that just had to move, and if it didn't move, I was not going to be okay. My parenting was not going to be okay. As soon as the decision was made, my actual physical body changed. On the cellular level, like, my toenails grow different now. This is the work that needs to happen, and I'm the vehicle to help it on its way.
How could we know mushrooms, the fruit of vast, intricate fungal networks, co-evolved with plants to feed and fuel each other? How could we know their magic?